I am nervous about making this video. I do not like talking about my negative experiences. I just don't like doing it because I feel like, I can't even think of the words to say it. Like, I feel like anytime I've tried to talk about something like this, like negative experiences, it gets taken the wrong way. And I want you guys to know that me even making this video, it's me making myself do this video for two reasons. One, I feel like I do owe you guys an explanation, and I know there's gonna be people that are coming, like, commenting saying you don't owe anyone an explanation. This is like, if you don't want to tell anybody this, you don't need to, but I feel personally, I feel like I need to build and keep and maintain trust with you guys. Keep and maintain are literally the same words. The second reason that I'm doing this video is because I want anybody who is in a similar position that I am, and I know that some of you that I talk to frequently that watch my videos are in a similar position like me, or have been recently, or probably are going to go into some kind of a situation like this in the future. Hopefully not, but maybe. I just want to make this video so you guys know that you aren't alone. And I know that this summer has been really rough for a lot of us, and it's been very, very hard for me too. And I will hopefully spit it out and talk about it in this video. Hopefully I'll be able to cut out most of my stuttering and editing, but if there is some stuttering or like pauses, or like if my face does weird, and if I start to look around, I apologize. Looking around and training my focus on something else kind of helps me clear my mind. I'm a very shy, awkward, and quiet person. A lot of it is anxiety reason why, because I have just dealt with a lot of, I don't like saying mistreatment because it seems very overdramatic, but like the truth of the matter is that I have. Anytime that I've said something of my own words, of my own thoughts and feelings on something, people have usually shut it down, treat me like I'm crazy, turn it around and use it against me. I don't know, anytime I've tried to be a good friend, people have abused that. So my most previous video that was a sit down and talky kind of a video was about changes that were going on in my life, and everything that I said in that video was very true, and I did kind of give some instances of things that had been happening, and I talked about my downstairs neighbors in my previous apartment from this one, still in the same complex, being a huge pain in my ass essentially, which is why we moved into this apartment. And I don't remember if I mentioned that like any other major changes that were going on around me at that point, specifically like in my relationship with Andrew. Like, everything's okay, before people are like, oh my god, are you two still together? Yes, we're fine, we're together, we just had an amazing vacation. But there were some very big changes going on in my life besides the things that I was talking about in that video. I think pretty much the only change I really did talk about was moving into this apartment and the reason why we moved into this apartment. But other changes that were going on around us was that Andrew graduated college. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice now, and it's really cool. And I know some of my friends that are watching this also just graduated college, so like, congrats to all y'all. But like right now, some of our life is in limbo. You know, that's this whole transition period of, wow, we're actually adults now. Like, it's been a lot to kind of come to terms with, to realize, okay, this is the time in our lives where what we do, really what we do, is going to have very long-term effects on our careers. For now, like, this is the time in our life where we are actually building ourselves a foundation to grow as a couple, grow as hopefully a family one day, and grow as having a nice home and having a career that we can be financially stable. Like, these are all things that have been a lot of conversation this past summer, and it's kind of freaky, it's kind of odd. Like, we've had these conversations in the past, you know, that just comes up naturally, but this past summer it's been very much like really starting to talk about it, really starting to try to figure it out. And it's weird, like, there's no manual on how to figure out your 20s. Like, we're going into our mid-20s now, and it's It's crazy to think that we're no longer kids. And I've known for a while that I'm like no longer a kid, but like now it's really sank in. Like leading into that, I also don't know if I've talked about it on camera before, but this year has been a very huge year of transition and detox for me. At the beginning of this year, like literally the first 2 weeks of this year, I was a manager at a bookstore. I was in charge of the cafe at a bookstore, and I was basically running that by myself. So I went from that to leaving that job due to shitty management. I went from leaving that job to pursuing a completely different job, working from home in social media. And so that has been a huge learning curve for me. I spent a couple of months kind of like in limbo. I had saved up enough money that I could financially support myself for a few months, and I did, and it's been a huge learning curve for me, not only transitioning to work from home, but also learning how to do these things, learning what I can do very well and what just doesn't work for me. So around the same time as our move and Andrew graduating college, I actually had a change in my specific field in that for a while. And so like right now I'm at a point where I am just in deep with such this huge transition of my life. I've nicknamed this year the year of detox because there have been so many changes that I'm seriously like detoxing from it, like leaving my job to go to a new job and, you know, starting this YouTube channel, like actually pursuing my creative things. And then I've had a lot of issues with friendships this year, specifically this past summer, which I will talk about that in a minute. And just like every old aspect of my life is kind of starting to fade away and make room for the newer things in my life. And it's very strange. It's very weird. Like currently I'm in a period where my car is dying. And that seems funny to mention, but I literally get into my car about twice a week, and every time I start my car I'm like, is today the day? And meaning, is today the day that my car is going to not start? Because it has transmission issues, I can't get into the lockbox, I can't get my CDs out, there are things falling off the door, there's an exhaust issue, my check engine light has been on for over a year now, and my driver's side window will not roll down anymore, and that's a $500 fix, and I know that because I've had to get that fixed before. So like, it's literally like I don't even take it out of town anymore because it's so unreliable, and there's so many costs, like so many things that need fixed in it, that I'm driving a totaled car right now. Like all of the things that are wrong with the car cost more money than the car is even worth right now, and it's a nightmare. But I feel like that's the thing of struggling in your 20s, is to just have these issues. Struggling in your early 20s to have these issues. And I don't necessarily know if I could do it, if I would even go and buy a new car right away, just because that's a big financial decision. And I know that a lot of people, at least I keep seeing this crap, fresh out of high school, people fresh out of high school, like a couple of years younger than me, are posting on social media being like, I made my first adult purchase, I bought myself a new car. You know what my first adult purchase was? I bought a couch. I spent $560 or something on a couch. And it took me months to save up for that. And that couch is still sitting in my living room right now. Y'all have seen it before. That was my first adult purchase. Not a car. Because even though I've been driving junkers for a couple of years, well, I shouldn't say that. My car wasn't a junker when I bought it. Like, I don't know, people spend unnecessary money, and I'm just not one of those people. I don't do that because I know it's gonna stress me out too much. So therefore, I'm not gonna do it. And that might be a stupid decision on my part, but you know what? I financially cannot afford to buy myself a new car right now. Oh my goodness, I would love to not play the is today the day game every time I need to go somewhere. But you know what? Today is not the day. Well, hopefully I might get in my car later. Today is not the day that I'm going to be getting a new car. And I should put a little disclaimer in here that I have talked to my parents about it, and my mom has agreed to help me put a down payment on a car when the car does go. So since we have moved into this apartment, there have been quite a few unexpected things that have happened. It has made this past summer, probably one of the hardest summers I have had in a few years. And this is something that I haven't openly talked about at all. And it's really hard for me to say because I still go through phases of denial that there's anything wrong, and so it's hard. But these two things I do believe are significantly tied together because one will flare up with the other and vice versa. So as you guys know, we moved into this apartment to escape constant all day, all times of the day, all times of the night noise. So we moved here to hear our new downstairs neighbors hostilely screaming at each other every weekend for the past 4 months. And they are in a domestic abusive relationship. I know too much about them right now. I know a little bit too much about them because I can hear everything that they are screaming at each other. They scream. We've called the police on them once, and it's gotten to the point that now the next time I hear it, I will be calling the police on them, and every time after that, I will keep calling the police until something happens, like something good happens. And so moving into hearing that, I guess as a normal person, it would just actually be very troubling to hear that. I'm not a normal person. I actually have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And one of my traumas was being in an abusive relationship, both verbally and emotionally. Something that I've realized this year is that I have been reworking through all of my traumas. And I'm not going to go into detail about it. One, because it's very upsetting. I know that this whole thing is upsetting for people that I haven't fully outed to, which includes family. And the reason for that is because I'm afraid. I am afraid because there is this stigma around people that have any form of PTSD that is, what war did you serve in? My response to that is my own mind and the cruelness of other people. And that's hard for me. So this past year, I have ended up going through a lot more trials than I had expected to. So it's become a point where this past summer, on top of that and on top of reliving a lot of other traumas, I had completely forgotten how to cope with my trauma. I had completely forgotten how to cope with my depression and my anxiety. There was a period of time where I forgot how to laugh about it, where I had forgot how to laugh. And that's scary. That's really, I don't know how to put it into words, to be honest, because since before that, laughing was my main form of coping about it. So it's been very hard for me to not only re-experience everything and remember details from everything, things that I had so far repressed in my mind all come to the surface, and me having to rework through all of that and learn how to deal with that and learn how to cope with that it had a really, really negative effect on me. And that's hard for me to talk about because I have never really said on camera exactly what I've been through. And I'm not about to do that because, quite frankly, I have too much to do today and I have too much to do tomorrow and for the rest of the next 2.5 weeks that I really do not want to sit here and go into a full-on flashback telling you guys some of these things. And if there is a day that I do decide to say it and talk about it, then I hope that it will be met with love and compassion, because honest to God, it's let me just show you something here. I have, it doesn't show up very well on camera. I have pages of my notebook that I blocked out to prevent myself from even seeing some of it, so I don't start in that cycle again. People don't understand it, and that's kind of okay, but if you don't understand it, either don't make a judgment or learn how to better understand it. People don't understand that it is very debilitating. It can seriously take over your entire being. There were quite a few days where I felt like a prisoner of my own mind and body. And I don't know how to really explain it. I don't know how to put it into words exactly what it's like and what it feels like, because I feel like it's different for everyone. And everyone has a different experience on it, and everyone has a different mindset about it. In order to bring some clarification to that, I can only really say that it has been one of the biggest indicators that I am currently in a huge life transition. And the only reason why I know that is because I've been through this transition before. I feel like our 20s is the time where we are learning how to weed out the toxic friendships. I don't like using the word toxic too much because I feel like it's a highly abused word now, but I feel like I have started to really learn how to weed out actually toxic friendships, relationships, whatever, acquaintances, whatever you want to call it. One of the situations that I had to deal with this summer was one that I probably let get to me for a little bit too long. It was honestly like a huge, big, constant loop of miscommunication and misunderstanding how teamwork works, but it was also a loop of people coming in and not reading the backlog of the chat and then having an issue with what was going on in the present before reading the backlog. You know, like, or people walking in and being like, look, I'm here, we're gonna do it this way. Then treating each other like employees rather than a team, when it was a volunteer project based on the love of sharing knowledge, helping other people grow. Trying to say this and not be too salty. Just something that I've learned is that there's a stark difference between people who are leaders and people who are power hungry. People who actually want to work and learn and grow and build as a team, and people who want to boss the other people around. People who want to work as a group to not only build our bond as a group, but to also problem solve as a group. And people who want to lead everybody else on a wild goose chase, only to then ex-nay everything everybody just worked on to do it themselves anyway, which we had been working on it for like a solid, also 6 months. Oh, and won't listen to the people that actually have an idea of what they're saying either. Versus, we're going to be friends and kind of rant saltily about it, but still get the problem fixed in a very timely and professional manner. See the stark differences here? I literally just left a job with this situation. I left a management position because this situation was already going on. My cafe was ran with this situation. I was trying to be ran with this situation, and thus it ended up getting reflected on my cafe. This is one of those things where it's hard to know what is right or wrong. Like, to somebody from the outside, it's like, okay, yeah, do this or leave. But it's hard when originally it all started out as a friendship thing, and you actually have bonds with some of the people, or you actually like cared about some of the people involved in it. And so it's kind of hard to make that decision to put yourself and value yourself and have respect for yourself over the one person in the group that keeps creating this problem. It takes multiple people to fix a problem, but it takes only one to keep creating a problem. And I stand by that, and I agree full-heartedly in that statement. Because sometimes you have to learn that everything you have gone through, everything you have done to learn to respect yourself, your journey, where you have come, how far you have come, sometimes you have to learn to put that above that one person that keeps creating a problem in something that you have put a lot of love into. And that's hard. That's really hard. But ultimately, if that thing is causing you a great amount of stress, negativity, unhappiness, basically like looming over your head in a bad way, then it's not worth it anymore. At least for me and everything that I have gone through. I don't know how to put into words just how much I truly value your friendship if you helped me through that situation, or if you stayed by my side after that situation as my friend. I don't know if I could ever put into words how much that actually means to me. So after all of that, I mentioned before that I actually had to relearn how to cope with everything that had been going on, not only presently in my life, but all of the traumas I had been reliving. On top of also physical ailments. I do have rheumatoid arthritis. I am planning on doing a video one day kind of detailing a little bit more what my life is like with my RA. I feel like that is also one of the other biggest changes in my life that I have made in the past 2 years. Was learning how to live with RA as a 23-year-old. And for those of you that don't know what rheumatoid arthritis is, it is inflammatory joint arthritis. It is when the immune system attacks your joints. So I have it in a lot of my joints. I have it very predominantly in my jaw and in my knees. It has caused a lot of issues for me in my life, but that is one of the things that I am still learning how to deal with, as it's only been 2 years since I've had my diagnosis, and it's been at the end of October, it will be 3 years since my first flare-up with it. That has been another thing that I've had to learn how to deal with all over again. And so when your knee is swollen to the size of a grapefruit, it's kind of hard to do anything. You kind of get stuck in bed for a while. It's really hard. It's really hard to stay optimistic when you are trapped in one spot, unable to really care for yourself for a couple of days at a time. And I don't know, that's not something that I'm going to go too much into detail with, but I wanted to throw that in there because this video has been mostly about my mental health, so that has also had a huge hit on my mental health. But after all of that, I did want to thank you guys for sticking around, and as a treat for you guys sticking around, still being here, even though I have not been uploading, I did not want to end this video on a bit of a weird note, on a kind of unfinished but also kind of negative note. I don't want to do that, and as I have mentioned before, the best way to cope with something is to laugh about it, and so my favorite way of laughing about it is being salty and making salty jokes about it, because everybody can laugh at salty humor. And if you can't, I'm sorry, this is not the segment for you. But if you like having a sense of humor about things and learning how to just laugh at the really mundane little things that kind of pissed you off in life, kind of sent you down a little bit of a loop that you didn't want to go down, this next segment is for you. Have some kombucha. Screaming and arguing for 2 weeks about how both of you are completely broke and both of you have completely maxed out your credit cards can only be fixed by one thing. Let's both buy new cars. I get way too much amusement out of blaring I write sins not tragedies when my neighbors start screaming at each other. And lastly, you know the call out was good when the entire chat got deleted in response. My name is Julia, and this has been Salty Chair Aerobics. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on part 2 of this video. A lot of big changes are coming and you won't want to miss out, so I hope you'll stick around. Value honesty, and I value transparency. Like, transparency is my #1 value for my channel, and growing my channel and growing, there's a fly in here, and growing my relationship with you guys. There is a fly in here. I hope that that fly does not fly into my coffee, because I'm gonna be very upset if that fly does fly into my coffee. Oh shit, what was I saying? And I'm really excited for him, and there's that fly again. It's just like buzzing around here. Oh my goodness. Like, it's... This fly is... Why did you decide to come up now? Of all the times you could have been gone, you decided to... I'm pretty sure it just flew in here, because I saw that fly last night and Roxy tried to eat it. And it was... Oh my goodness, this fly is just... too... Get out of here. Hear ye, hear ye. I am going to kill this freaking fly when I'm done. Like, nah, man. I'm sorry. I can't hang with that. That was the most, like, millennial thing I have said. Hold on, there is a small doge at my door. Oh my goodness, there's a little one. Love that protest. Oh. Hello. She does not like this. Okay, I will put you down. Oh, you got this blanket because I knew you were going to come in here at some point and want to lay down. You know the call out was good when the entire chat got to. Okay, there's spit going into my sinuses.